Hello, everyone. Welcome to Steven, episode 5, Time to Thrive. We're on episode 5. We're not joking around anymore. 4,000 views and counting. What do we do with this stack of money?
I don't know what we're going to do with this stack of money, but we've got a whole bunch of fans now because last week we only had like 15 subscribers.
Yes, we have.
And now we're at a whopping 38 subscribers. And I might even subscribe from a few of my personal ones just so we have more subscribers, more fans.
That's a good idea. That would be really good. I've been going to some of these websites where you just pay people to make channels and subscribe. It's $1 per channel, which is not a bad deal. So, yeah, $39 in the hole. So,
how many followers we get, subscribers?
We have 39.
I love it.
So should we, do you want to start off with news? You want to talk about news?
Maybe.
Okay. I think news.
What if I told you I forgot to bring news? Would you fire me?
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, I mean.
What if I told you I forgot to bring anything? Would you be a little less mad when I tell you I did bring some stuff?
I don't know.
I brought things to talk about.
See, the thing with news, though, the reason we have to start with news is because it's the newest thing that happens. And so.
But news is happening all the time. News never ends.
Yeah, I know. So we want the most current news before we record, because when we enter the recording realm, you know, we can't just report on things live.
By the time this episode comes out, it'll be olds. That's why we're going to call it the olds, because it's not even news anymore. Go ahead.
I see.
Give me your best shot.
Should we start with news?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Elon Musk bought Twitter.
No way.
So what's going to happen now? Use your car to tweet?
What's the bot situation?
Yeah, okay. I actually saw the press conference, and I guess this thing is supposed to replace like wage slaves. Essentially, it's not supposed to run faster than, I think it was 5 miles an hour. It's just this slow robot that can do very basic tasks because Elon is a fan of universal basic income. And I guess just kind of the idea that once all of the crappy work is taken care of by automation, then somehow the poor people will be given some money to still survive, which I feel like that is kind of optimistic. I don't think most companies are behind that.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
What do you mean you don't even know what I'm talking about?
What robots? I meant the Twitter bots.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. So, yeah. Okay. Well, last week he showed off this like Tesla robot. It's like 5'6", and it's like a big, it looks like a robot. Okay. And yeah, it walks around with cameras, scans everything, learns its environment, and it's supposed to do basic tasks. But you're talking about the Twitter robots. I think with the deal that they came to for buying Twitter, it was what he originally wanted, which was like $54 a share. So yes, I know what you're talking about now, because the price was inflated because. But
are they going to delete all the bots now? So because the whole thing was like maybe they're trying to cover something. That's why he was.
I don't know. I think if he owns it, there will probably be different people in charge to maybe ensure that there aren't bots.
I thought Elon. I thought he was anti-robot.
He used to be. He used to be pretty anti-AI, but then
he's like, I tried to warn them.
Yeah.
I tried to warn them about AI. It's like, yeah, dude, you can hit the off button.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's why this robot only goes like 6 miles an hour or something like that. I think he realized he said something like he can't fight it. He tried to fight it, but couldn't. So now he's focused on learning how to make AI friendly as it can possibly be. So.
Wow.
Next thing in news, I don't know if you heard about this, but Kanye West was seen with Candace Owens, and they were both wearing White Lives Matter t-shirts that Kanye made, and I guess he's going to sell them. So
that's incredible. I'm looking for the photo.
It's pretty funny.
Why do I hate like the conservative like reverse racism where they're like, see, a black woman can be a conservative.
Yeah.
That's weird. Okay, here we go. White Lives Matter. Kanye. He looks like shit.
He does. He kind of looks like MC Wright a little bit. His beard's like longer.
Yeah. And he's fatter, so.
Yeah. Maybe he's going to start dating Candace Owens. No, Candace Owens, I think, has a husband and a baby.
Why do they try and do this?
I don't know.
I think it's such lame tactics because obviously it's like stupid that people wear the Black Lives Matter stuff. And then it's dumb when conservatives would do the All Lives Matter. It's just like a stupid argument that like if conservatives were smart, they just wouldn't even engage with that kind of stuff. Right. It's like, oh, we're going to do some big publicity stunt. So it's all about the money. She works for Ben Shapiro. Shit, I did it. I wasn't supposed to bring him up. I said
we'll beep it out.
I said the Ben word.
The other thing in news that we've got is that, so this is a two-parter. So one, Ben Avery from the Tim Dillon podcast has left the Tim Dillon show. So he said that he has other projects that he's working on in a statement that he posted on Instagram and Twitter. But I didn't tell you this until today. I reached out to him on Instagram. I said, hey, it's me. I'm Steve from Steve and Steven.
Yes.
We're an up and coming podcast. We've just hit it big with one of our hilarious clips. You've got to check it out. And, our audience has grown tenfold, thousandfold since the inception of this show. We would love it for you to hop on and be our third mic / producer, because Spyro, not that he's not cutting it, but he needs Barely. A little bit of help. He could learn something. So one, you have a new job. This would be awesome for you. Two, Spyro can shadow you and learn from you. So whenever your contract expires here at Steve and Steven, Spyro will at least be able to competently handle the show.
Look, I'd love to have Ben here. I don't know what his asking price is. It might be a little out of our range, but I think we could make something work.
Maybe. So he opened the message. He looked at it. And so basically, here's what I did, though. You're probably wondering, how'd you do that? How'd you score it? My first message was, the Tim Dillon show will not be the same without you. I know you'll be successful in your future endeavors. So he went and he liked it. And as he liked it...
This is on his post?
No. I DM'd him his post. Because that's what you do on Instagram. It's like, if you want to talk to them about it, you got to DM. So I DM'd that to him. And then I had that whole thing written up. I copied it. So the second he liked it and was in the chat, I pasted that whole book on him. Mm-hmm. So he totally saw it. So he left the message after I sent it. I think he has to think about it, So he's probably going to be turning down, his spot on Joe Rogan. So yeah, expect Ben Avery ?
Here at Steve and Steven.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's gonna suck without him on there. I don't know how many shows, or if like they were the first show where like the producer was just on camera to be like,
yeah.
I mean, Ben would laugh at stuff Tim said, so it was like perfect. But
it was.
But now like a lot of shows do that, where like the producers are involved, or they'll have like some sort of like sidekick that isn't even a producer. But
yeah, so
it's a lot more common now. But I love Ben. I love Tim.
Yeah.
Sad to see them break up.
Yeah. From that, based on that, that clip that I was playing you, that people are saying led to Ben leaving, definitely seems like Tim would not be the most fun to work with, though. He seems...
Dude, if Tim heard this, though, if Tim hears this, which he will...
Yeah, that's true.
He's going to come at you hard.
That's okay. He can.
He's going to go from his high-pitched voice to his lower voice.
Okay, that's actually... This is what I was going to complain about. So I was trying to listen to his latest episode with Louis C.K., and I just could not get through it because this is actually, I guess, Radio 101. But when you're talking to someone, especially on like an audio format, normally when you're talking to someone, you can have like, vocal affirmations like, yeah, uh-huh, yeah. But you're not supposed to do that. You just nod along.
Yeah.
So what he does, go ahead and start talking. I'll do what he did when Louis C.K. would talk.
Well, I've listened to this episode. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. It was so much. It was literally that much.
Yeah, he's always waiting for his turn to talk.
He is. And that's what...
Which is his show, but like when you have a guest on, it makes it like nearly impossible.
Right. And it's the way... It's that like raspy...
I get the idea. Fucking stop.
Yeah. I have to do it. That's how much he was doing. He was doing it so much that I have to do it to the point where the joke is not funny anymore, because that is how much he was doing it. And yes, his high-pitched voice, though, is really funny when it like deviates from his normal talking. But yeah, wish them both the best of luck. Maybe they'll get back together. Maybe they won't.
All right.
Who gives a crap? Should we talk about what we have been autistic about this week, or should we get straight into another little music topic?
God, yeah, let's do some music, man.
So, that's funny. We're looking at the numbers, folks. We've been listening to the audience. So now it's time to deliver. What band are we going to talk about now? Well, you're probably only watching the clip, so you know that it's The Cure. Why The Cure? Why aren't you talking about Slater? Why aren't you talking about Puzzle? Why or Enjoy? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you try to look up anything about The Cure or anyone talking about The Cure on YouTube, you know who you get? You get hang on, I have to show this to you because this is literally...
It's not the bacon guy again, is it?
It is...
If the bacon guy,
worse.
The bacon guy did beat us to the Garden, but he's done nothing. In fact, he was my beef of the week, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is the guy. This is our competition here.
Yeah.
We've got the Professor of Rock.
Okay, Professor of
Rockology.
Well, what's going to suck is he probably knows a little bit more about music theory, but I know a little bit more.
I watched an interview with this guy.
About nothing. Okay. Oh, this guy fucking sucks.
Yeah. This Gen X, like the Grateful Dead's greatest track that was a #1 hit.
The Grateful Dead stinks, by the way. That's actually who we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how bad the Grateful Dead is. I hate the Grateful Dead.
I've never listened to them.
No, you know what makes me mad about the Grateful Dead? Fuck the Cure. I'm just kidding. We're going to get to the Cure. Here's why.
We'll eventually get there.
Because we're never going to do anything for the Grateful Dead. I hate the Grateful Dead.
No,
this is
suck.
why. And I work with somebody who's a self-proclaimed deadhead. The entire band's gone now. I mean, Jerry Garcia's dead, who's the main guy. And they basically replaced everybody. And the fans of the Grateful Dead still are like, oh, the Grateful Dead will always like live on. Like, but they don't even, they're like, the band still exists. And it's like, yeah, but it's different people. It's like if the Beatles, which they're not the Beatles, but if the Beatles like traded out everybody and had 4 new people still playing under the name of the Beatles, it wouldn't be the fucking Beatles. But these Deadheads, which is a lame name, that's all they do. They just want to, and their music sucks. I'll just say it. I've heard they're great in concert, but I don't really like that shit. So fuck the Grateful Dead. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, I've heard anytime that the Grateful Dead has been brought up, people will say like, yo, but you don't know this band? No, I don't. And I'm not going to listen to this band ever because of the way that you've talked about it. That's the other thing. This is actually something I writ into the Cure script. Because one of the albums that's in my top 5 was the first album of the Cure I'd listened to. But to me, I consider listening to a band. If someone says, have you listened to The Cure? Before I'd listened to the first album of theirs I'd listened to, I would have said no. That doesn't mean I haven't heard their songs on the radio. It just means that I haven't listened to an entire album of theirs. Because that's kind of what I consider like listening to.
Yeah.
But any like normie person who are like self-proclaimed like music enthusiasts, one, have not listened to like an entire album, and 2, just like love bands because they have one song. And so it's like those people, over the years, I've gotten better at like spotting those people out and just not engaging with them. If they're like, so I heard you like music. Just like, yeah, I don't actually. I don't listen to music.
Yeah, people don't listen to albums anymore in general. So, I mean,
which is weird.
A lot of people who are really into music do. So it's not like everybody, but like everybody listens to music and most people don't listen to albums. They just listen to like the popular songs on the radio, and then they have their playlist, and then they just do similar sounding stuff. But yeah, I'm generally the same way as you in that regard.
Something else I want to say though about the Professor of Rock. So, okay, I was watching this interview. He was being interviewed.
The professor.
And he was telling the person, he was like, yeah, I was into, with this rock and roll scene. It was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But of course, the first 2 didn't interest me. I wasn't involved in the first 2. Like, yeah, you did not need to tell us that.
Well,
we get it.
The sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, he doesn't look like he would fall into that. He wears a stupid little hat. I mean, I'm just trying to create beef with anybody on the internet. So if anybody wants to come on this pod and fucking fight me in person, we'll fly you out to LA and you can go head to head with me, Steven.
Yeah, but here's the turn. So like we've got your attention. Maybe you've listened to the Professor of Rock. Maybe you have a class with him. Maybe he is your professor in class.
He's not a professor.
Rockology. He teaches rockology at the university of his YouTube channel. So I watched his interview and I was thinking like, this is going to give me so much ammo to make fun of this loser. But once he's kind of like started talking about music, I realized like, okay, I actually agree with a lot of the stuff he's saying. And the person that we unironically have beef with is Anthony Fantano. He sucks because Anthony Fantano just has this like elitist music mindset, which this guy did not have. So yes, he listens to like a lot of like cringe bands, but he also doesn't listen to a lot of cringe bands. And, you know, he isn't like an elitist about it. So I will say, Professor of Rock, you are the voice for the musicians.
Okay, well, I came at him pretty hard.
Yeah, I did too.
But I haven't watched his videos, so maybe it wasn't warranted. I don't know. I'll watch some of them. Yeah. I'll give him a fair chance.
We just like to.
But his most recent videos is fucking ZZ Top. So I don't know. I mean, the Professor
went from bad to good, back to bad again. Just the full.
What's his most viewed video? Let's see.
I think it was something about a week in music. How like in this 1 week, the Beach Boys. Oh, okay. This is the other thing too. In this interview, he got his name Professor of Rock because he was interviewing the Beach Boys and someone in the Beach Boys gave him that nickname. So then I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe he's not so bad. After
Somebody
all.
in the Beach Boys gave him the nickname the Professor of Rock. Okay,
hey,
see, so now I'm not
Mr.
even
Professor.
shitting on him anymore. I can't even shit on the guy if he's fucking earned that name. But what do the Beach Boys know? They're not rock.
That's true. And he interviewed them when they were like super, super old. So it's like they're all senile. Brian Wilson's wasn't even there. Probably.
Brian Wilson was eating a fucking cheeseburger and
hell yeah. The Chad burger. Him and Richard Spencer getting the mushroom Swiss burger.
Was that in an episode?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Okay, I didn't know if it was cut out.
No,
like
I
if it was
kept
one of the lost episodes that
we'll
release in 10 years.
No. You can get it now.
When we're more famous than the Professor of Rock.
When the Professor of Rock, full circle, he comes and he's going to be our producer of the show.
Okay, we're opening up the Cure conversation now with the professors of the Cure.
Why are we talking about the Cure? Well, because it is speculated, according to Rate Your Music, that their new album, Songs for a Lost World, will be released on October 7th. I almost said in 3 days. Yeah. But apparently, so I've been trying to follow the news on this. I guess they have 3 albums in the works.
Yeah.
So Robert Smith said, we will be releasing a new album. I got fed up of saying this now. That doesn't really sound like him. So don't ask him about the new record. He says, it will be worth the wait. I think it's the best thing we've done, but then I would say that. What? Oh, but then I would say that. I'm not doing an Oasis when I say that. It's the best fucking album. A lot of the songs are difficult to sing, and that's why it's taken me a while.
Where do you see October 7th at? All right, top 5 albums. Are we going into it? Or are you prefacing it more?
Last thing I have to say. Mm-hmm. He said it was going to be closer to Disintegration as opposed to The Head on the Door. We can go into these albums now. Do we want to start with honorable mentions?
No, go ahead. You do your honorable mentions.
Only one I have is their first album, which I think you had in the long list that you sent me. So I guess you'd consider that an honorable mention.
Yeah, I mean, I did put like 9 of their first like 12 albums.
Yeah. What do I have to say about this? Well, I like it because it doesn't sound like any of their other stuff. So I think they don't Robert Smith doesn't really like that album because it didn't sound like he had like refined his sound. But I actually like a lot of bands' first albums because you can kind of like hear how they're trying to figure stuff out. And I like just the mix of it kind of sounds like 1950s like rock, but then there's kind of like a punk sound to it as well. So I don't know, like Grinding Halt. That's one of my favorite Cure songs. And what else?
Did you say the title or Three Imaginary Boys?
Yeah. Okay. Three Imaginary Boys Be Like. So
what track did you say was one of your favorites?
Grinding Halt.
So I'll do a reverse order here. Number 5, I have Disintegration. I think Love Song is probably the most known song on that album.
The professor said that Lullaby, I think, was...
well, that's the other song I wrote down. Those are my 2 favorite songs.
Well, that was a risky song, according to the professor. He said that the studios
We're just stealing this guy's research now. I should have watched the video. We should just regurgitate what he said.
That's true. I think he said that the studio didn't like that song, but they put it on anyway, and then it was successful. But that's not the first time that's happened. The first time that happened was with another album I'll talk about later.
Number 4. Let me fly through this list.
Yes, you're right. Sorry.
Wish. That's sort of the more of the pop sounding album. They started to get commercial success like in the 80s. like mid 80s into the late 80s. I feel like Disintegration was pretty like mainstream popular, but Wish had a lot more of a pop sound. So obviously Friday I'm in Love's probably their most well-known song.
Yeah, let me look it up on Spotify. I'm pretty sure it is, though.
Gotta be. I feel like it was just in a lot of movies, like early 90s movies. So that's a great song. I like High.
Boys Don't Cry, number 1. Friday I'm in Love, number 2.
So those are two of my favorite Cure songs. Number 3, 17 Seconds. My two favorite tracks on there are 3 and A Forest. 2, Faith. I like All Cats Are Gray and Primary. And number 1, The Head on the Door is my favorite. That was probably their first like album into commercial success. That was in 1985. Close to Me is my favorite. It's like one of their probably top 5 songs for sure. Close to Me is my favorite. I love the music video for that song. And I think between The Head on the Door, which is my number 1, and Faith, which is number 2, Faith is probably like a more cohesive album. There's 8 tracks on it. I like it more like, but I think my favorite parts of The Head on the Door are like higher than Faith. Yeah. So they're really like 1A and 1B. So anyway, go ahead.
It's very interesting. We only have one album different. So I don't have Wish in my top 5. I listened to it for the first time last week or over the weekend. And yeah, I liked it. I feel like I think when they started with like, it was The Top and then Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. It reminded me a lot of those 2 albums, which are a lot longer. And I enjoy those albums, but they're just like not my top 5 favorite. But I did like Wish. I actually honestly thought that I wasn't going to like it because of Friday I'm in Love. I used to not really like that song, but over time, it's definitely grown on me. So I would say that it is one of the Cure songs I've listened to. Maybe like, I don't know what it'd be in my top of. But number 5, I have Pornography. I just really like the drums on that album, and it is a very, very dark album, and I think like the last track is kind of hard to listen to just because it's like just noise as opposed to like an actual song. But I really do like the album a lot. The drums are awesome. And Short Term Effect is probably my favorite Cure song of all time. And number 4, I have Faith. And from what I had found from the professor, no, I'm just kidding, from Wikipedia, Faith was essentially what they wanted 17 Seconds to be because they didn't have a whole lot of money when they were recording 17 Seconds, and the album stopped with the track, I think it was called The Final Sound. This track was a little over a minute. It was supposed to be 10, 12 minutes long, but they just ran out of tape, so they just pretty much had to submit what they had as the album. So Faith was kind of their way of just kind of refining what they originally intended. I really do like Faith a lot. The first time I listened to it, I thought it was my least favorite Cure album, and I thought it was super boring, but it has grown on me. The one thing I don't like about it is that I feel like with 17 Seconds, the songs blend together very well, but Faith, it's like, here's the slow song, now here's the fast song, now here's the slow song, now here's the fast song. And so noticing that kind of takes away from the album a little bit, but it's still one of my favorites. Number 3, I have Disintegration, which is the first Cure album that I listened to. And actually, when I first listened to it, I was like, this band isn't really, maybe someday I'll come back and listen to them. But for right now, like I appreciate it for what it is. I think I still gave it a 4.5. And yeah, I just love just like the atmosphere that it created. I feel like from their second album to Disintegration, they had just been building up to creating like a really nice, I guess, wall of sound, but not in the Phil Spector way. It was like their own way of creating it. Because usually when you think wall of sound, it's like only the Phil Spector, like the bells and, but they kind of like made their own version of it. Number 2, Head on the Door. I just really love that album. And I don't actually have a whole lot to say about it. I just listen to it a lot and I love it. Now, number 1. 17 Seconds is my favorite album of theirs. So I listened to Disintegration, already said what I thought about it. And then whenever Mexican Summer was taking Ariel Pink's early albums and they were remastering them and releasing them in waves, every album came with like a little printout with like a long description of each album and like what was going on during the time and like reviews and whatnot. So when the Doldrums came out, it was talking about how this album was very similar to The Cure's song A Forest. So I thought, okay, I'll listen to that album and, maybe this band will click for me. And for whatever reason, that this is like an album that I can just like play and just like have on a loop. And I never get tired of it. And it is a very minimal sounding album, but I also really like that because home recorded music is probably my favorite genre of music. And so it just reminded me a lot of that. And I don't know. I just feel like it's simple enough to where like the dark mood is like, it's not like scary or like unpleasant. It's just kind of like there, like a foggy day. So
yeah, I think that's something else. Just like as a broader conversation, I think the Cure has always just like created a great atmosphere. Robert Smith's always done that, and like the early ones, it's it's that gothic like dark rock sound.
Oh, I hate that. Don't call me gothic.
I won't call you gothic, but it eventually evolves into the pop music. So I think the first thing I just remember Friday I'm in Love. It just felt like it was like that was just a song you would hear, like on the radio. Like I didn't even know other Cure songs from like the radio. So it was whenever I started like listening to Wish that I went back and started like from the beginning and listened to all of their stuff. And so, yeah.
For 17 seconds, I guess. So, oh geez, I meant to look up the pronunciation for this. This is going to be so embarrassing.
We'll do it.
So after their first album, they were touring with, is it Suey and the Banshees? Sue and the Banshees?
No, it's Susie and the Banshees.
Susie and the Banshees.
Yeah.
He toured with them, and I guess their guitar player quit, and so he filled in. So he would pretty much play super, super long shows, play with The Cure. They opened up, then he'd play with the Banshees, and that's where he learned to kind of love like the sound that The Cure eventually followed. Like that's why 17 Seconds sounds so different from Three Imaginary Boys, and then it just kind of continues in that path. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I don't know. I don't have much else to say. A Forest is the other example where that was going to be the single that they released, and it was originally also supposed to be much longer. And the studio said this song sucks, no one's going to like it, but that became their first number one hit that they had. Well, Boys Don't Cry was probably their first number one hit, but it became a hit. I think it will be interesting to hear the new album that comes out. I guess all three of them, technically. Do you think that old A-word N-words are capable of creating great music that they were known for when they were young? Do you have any examples of, I guess like...
Oh, I just got what you meant. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the last few albums haven't been as good, but it's been forever. Yeah. I'm trying to see when the last album came out.
I think it came out in 2008. It's called 413.
I don't know. I mean, it just depends how long he's been working on it and stuff. And I don't know. Like, I don't know if you get out of touch with sort of your vision for things, because most people peak creatively when they're like in their 20s. Yeah. And they're like in their maybe have like learned and like have more skills in their 30s. So it's like, is he over the hill? I don't know.
And I forgot to say this thing about Disintegration. So that came out in 89. So Robert Smith was 29 because he believed that's what he believed, that once he turned 30, whatever it is with the current culture, that he would no longer be a part of it. He would be too old for it. So he knew like he wanted Disintegration to be like his perfect album because he thought he'd never create something as good as that again. So I definitely think that Disintegration is a step up above a lot of their work, but
yeah, to compare it to Disintegration specifically would mean that he probably remembers saying that. Or did he say that in the interview? He said that like okay.
Yeah. So but I also think of like, R. Stevie Moore and like Cleaners from Venus. I wonder how much of that, I don't know, because like, yes, on one end, I think it is absolutely true that yes, when you're younger, your scope of the world, your view of the world is valuable to pretty much everyone older than you, because it's going to remind older people of when they were younger, like that magical time of when they were younger. So yes, when you're older and you're out of touch, you can't really recreate that. And I think that a lot of like studios, like studio executives who like make like modern pop songs, try to take old people and make them seem young. So I think that's why we often think that. But then I think of like R. Stevie Moore and like I said, Cleaners from Venus, where they didn't really have big record executives. And because they did a lot of their music at home, they were in a situation where they had to create albums at a rate much higher than regular musicians. So since they only had their immediate environment, that was their home to kind of create music in, it's like they have always kind of been like honest, and I don't know. They never try to sound young. You don't really get that sound because like R.C.V. Moore is like 60, but his last few albums he released before he retired, I really liked and I really enjoyed them.
I can't wait till the episode we talk about R.C.V. Moore.
I know, we review all 400 of his albums and Cleaners from Venus. We'll have to talk about that once his documentary is like available on streaming services. We're gonna have to watch it and talk about it. And you showed me him, and
I showed you R.C.V. Moore.
You showed me Cleaners from Venus.
Oh,
and
true.
He's like one of my favorite folks. So I watched a couple of movies over the weekend, and I don't know if this will be. Have you seen the movie Hostel?
No.
Okay. Have you seen? No, you have not. Okay. You have not seen American Psycho 1, so why would you have seen American Psycho 2? But I watched American Psycho 2, which actually this is kind of interesting. So this director recorded this film about a girl who kills people, and the author of American Psycho had a dispute with Lionsgate Film Productions because they were taking another one of his books and making it into a film. And I guess all of Bret Easton Ellis's books, they exist within the same universe. So like Patrick Bateman's brother is in another one of his books. So the studio executives were saying like, we want Patrick Bateman's brother to be in this movie and we want him to be like a serial killer. And he was like, no, that won't be allowed. Mm-hmm. And so they just took this random horror movie and just said, this is American Psycho 2. And it had nothing to do with American Psycho. And it starred Mila Kunis and William Shatner. It was not a good movie. They added some stuff at the beginning that was very obvious to try to like loosely connect it to American Psycho, but it doesn't base anything off of like the book or anything. It was kind of interesting, but the movie sucked.
I'm reading the plot because I'm never going to watch it. The film starts with 12-year-old girl whose babysitter's on a date with Patrick Bateman. Yeah. That's the big connection to make a sequel to the
babysitter.
Movie.
Yeah. She brought this girl. And so they just like add in a few extra lines too. They're like, so Mila Kunis, she's a college student and her professor used to be in the FBI, and he's the guy who discovered Patrick Bateman's body at the scene. But when she was a little girl, she killed Patrick Bateman. And so she's been like a murderer this whole time, and she wants to be in the FBI. And yeah, it's very, very weird. So